Hey everyone, SpiderMan 1991 here, and I like to read comic books, and today I'm going to talk about the top 5 comics I read that came out the last week of February and the first week of March. Let's get started. My number 5 pick, Superior Iron Man, number 5. This is pretty much the origin of the Teen Abomination character. Pretty much Tony, the Teen Abomination, whose real name is Jamie, recounts his origin to Tony while they're waiting for the DNA results of Tony's computers who give a full DNA analysis of Jamie, and Jamie explains that his mom was a scientist at Stark Industries, and one day when he was brought in because he was sick, there was a gamma experiment, and he got in the way of it, and that pretty much planted the seeds of his powers. They weren't active yet. But then when he turned 13, one day he got beat up by some kids, got real angry, and then just pretty much transformed to Team Abomination, and unfortunately killed his mom during the process. Also, when Tony recounts, when he's telling the origin, Tony remembers that the day the experiment happened, back when he had a double life as Iron Man, he went to fight some villain known as the Black Llama, and he can't really remember anything else that happened. And so, after the scan, but back in the present, after the scan is finished, we learn that Jamie's father, who he didn't know, is actually Happy Hogan, Tony Stark's deceased best friend. And so at that moment, Tony kind of realizes, okay, you're the son of one of the only few people I actually care about, so I'm actually going to help you. Tony kind of reveals that originally he was just going to try to take Teen Abomination apart, learn how he can market his abilities, but really now he genuinely wants to help the kid change back. Obviously, because he's Happy's son. And so after he tells the kid that we're going to get started tomorrow, he goes into another room and he tries to find any footage from his armor or Stark Industries of him, and in order to try to remember what happened on that day. And there's nothing. All the footage was deleted. So what I'm thinking about this whole missing day thing with Tony and the Black Llama, this could be involved with the whole alliance that's sort of building against Tony. And I'm of course referring to Pepper Potts and the mysterious stranger who's wearing Tony's old armor. So we have no idea who that is yet, but it could be tied into the whole Tony and the missing day thing. Also, this is kind of an interesting one-shot about how Teen Abomination originally the guys who behind Superior Iron Man originally just made this character as a joke, but now he's become a member of the supporting cast, which is very nice. This is a great issue because it does throw back to the earlier days of Iron Man. We see Tony in his classic armor, also references to Happy Hogan, and now kind of bringing Happy back through his son. That's very nice too. Also, still getting some seeds planted about what Pepper and whoever the heck is in the Iron Man armor is going to do to Tony, dealing with Tony being arrogant and everything now. And and there is some compassion in Tony when he does realize that Jamie is Happy's son, so that could kind of lead to the whole undoing of the Superior Iron Man soon. But we'll just have to wait and see, and that's why Superior Iron Man is my number 5 pick. My number 4 pick is from Image Comics, Descender number 1 by Jeff Lemire with art by Dustin Nguyen. Yeah. Sorry if I mispronounced it. Alright, so Descender is pretty much about an android who's designed to be a child's companion, Tim, 21. He wakes up after 10 years sleep and discovers that the moon colony he's living on is abandoned. And during the 10 years that he was asleep, anti-robot destruction is spreading throughout the galaxy due to an incident 10 years ago that involved these giant robots known as the Harvesters that pretty much planted themselves near major galactic planets and then attacked them. And after that, everyone pretty much that's when the anti-robot craze started to form. Meanwhile, on did I write this right? Nyrala, it's based on a lot of weird stuff. Dr. Jin Kwan has been called back into service. He was originally the galaxy's foremost expert on robotics back during the first Harvester attack, but unfortunately after that, he lost most of his credibility and went underground. And now he's been called back into service when the Galactic Alliance Galactic Council has figured out what the Harvester's base code is, because Dr. Kwan had a theory that all robots had a base code, and they figure out, and no one knew where the Harvesters came from, so they're trying to figure. So Kwan had a theory that if they could figure out the Harvester's base code, they could figure out who built them and maybe figure out how to stop them. And the council has figured out the base code for the Harvesters, and it turns out it's a match to the Tim Android series. And then we cut back to the moon, where we see Tim sending out a distress call with his little robot dog companion, and it's answered, but unfortunately it's answered by robot hunters known as Scrappers. Alright, this series has first of all, let me just say, very beautiful artwork in this series. Also, very interesting. Also, the story is very interesting as well. We have pretty much a mystery connection between our protagonist Tim and the antagonists, the Harvesters. What exactly is their creation? Also, Dr. Kwan, who created the Tim Android series, there's the mystery of how exactly these childlike companion robots led to these giant robots of destruction. Who built them like that, and how are they similar to the Tims? Also, a fun fact: before the first issue came out, the film rights to this story were bought by Jeff Lemire sold the film rights to this story to Sony before the first issue came out. So obviously, there's going to be a movie soon. But anyways, Descender this was a great opening issue. It pretty much tells us what the premise is of the book, who our main characters will be, Tim 21 and Dr. Kwan. How are they going to meet? What are they going to do when they interact and stuff? Can't wait to see what else comes. Overall, Descender, I think if you like good science fiction stories, anything that involves space and robots, then you should definitely give Descender a chance. My number 3 pick, all new Hawkeye #1, also written by Jeff Lemire. The two Hawkeyes are on a mission for Maria Hill, Clint Barton, and Kate Bishop. They're invading Hydra base because Maria Hill told them that they need to stop. There's a hidden Hydra weapons cache there, so they head over to the Hydra cell, and they're pretty much fighting their way through a bunch of Hydra henchmen, but they find really nothing other than standard Hydra weapons. And eventually, though, Clint and Kate get separated, and eventually, while Clint's trying to find Kate keeps moving through the base, and eventually she does find what Hydra's main project in that base, which is known as Project Communication. And when Kate gets opens the door, she discovers that it looks like Hydra is experimenting on children. Like, they have a bunch of electrodes and stuff like attached to these kids who have really enlarged heads. So that's interesting. Also, during this entire issue, we're not just given the main story, but we're also given another story running parallel to this one, which is a flashback to when Clint and his older brother Barney were kids, and they left their foster home, and eventually found by the way, their foster dad was very abusive, and eventually they ran away and found their way to the circus, and that's where that half of the issue ends. Okay, I'm just going to point out what everyone is saying. Yeah, we still haven't gotten the final issue of Matt Fraction and David Aja's Hawkeye yet, but don't worry, you can read there's no reference to it, so you can read this without having to worry about the last series being spoiled, so don't worry about that. Also, it's interesting how we're getting another story at the same time. We're also in the past as we're getting a story in the present. Kind of interesting to see how Clint and Barney getting to the circus. And if you remember, Clint did grow up in the circus, and that's where he learned his archery skills. So that's obviously going to kind of run parallel to this story we have going on right now with him and Kate Bishop and Hydra. So it's going to be interesting to see what exactly those two events have in common and how they're related in a way. Nevertheless, I like Jeff Lemire's writing. I think he's going to do a good job on Hawkeye. He had an amazing run on Green Arrow. Not going to lie, that was definitely epic. So since he definitely retooled DC's Archer, he can definitely do the same at Marvel. I think he's the perfect man for Marvel's Archer. So yeah, overall, this was a great first issue. It has lots of action in it. We also get another we also get kind of two stories in one. We got the flashback with Clint and his brother, and in the present we have Clint and his protege. So yeah, that's great. Overall, if you like the previous one with Hawkeye and you liked Jeff Lemire's writing, then you should definitely check out issue number 1. All right, my number 2 pick is Amazing Spider-Man number 15, the epilogue to Spider-Verse. Pretty much this is your standard epilogue. All the spiders are sent back to their respective dimensions, and timelines. However, there are a few things that shake things up. First of all, Ben Parker of Earth 3145, the radioactive world, I was right. He decides to stay on Earth 982 and be a grandfather to Peter's kids, May and baby Ben Parker. And also, it's revealed that on Earth 982, Mary Jane and Wes lived, but unfortunately, Peter sacrificed himself to get them out of there. So that's unfortunate. So that's kind of a downer. But Ben decides to stay on that Earth and be a grandfather to Peter's kids, which is very nice. Also, the Superior Spider-Man, he's sent back to his place in the timeline with obviously no memory of what happened in Spider-Verse. However, before he leaves after killing the Master Weaver, he has his Anna Marie AI program in his web shooters activate some protocol that won't go into full effect until 100 days from when he returns. So that's going to be interesting. Also, Karn, the inheritor that betrayed the other inheritors and decided to work with the spiders, now becomes the new Master Weaver. And also, Spider UK, whose dimension was destroyed, decides to stay and protect the other worlds that lost their Spider-Man during the events of Spider-Verse. And also, Anya, aka Spider-Girl, decides to join him as well to fill in the role of Spider-Woman of the multiverse. Okay, this was definitely a fantastic epilogue. For more stuff that do say the ramifications of Spider-Verse, I forgot to mention this, but when Karn becomes the new Master Weaver and does kind of restore the web a bit, he says that everything in the past of the main timeline is restored. However, not the future. So I think that's what causes the trouble for Spider-Man 2099 in his book. So overall, this was definitely a fantastic epilogue issue. If you want to see more of the fallout of Spider-Verse, then I'd say check out all the other Spider titles: Spider-Gwen, Spider-Man 2099, Spider-Woman. There will be another. Also, we haven't seen the last of Spider UK and Anya because there is going to be a Spider-Verse series coming out for Secret War soon. Can't wait to see what's going on with that. Also, the way Otto activated that program with his Anna Marie AI, I think we're going to be dealing with the ramifications of that next issue, because I think 100 days, that seems about right for when Superior returned to the present, but then Peter came back, so it does feel like that's something we're going to pick up immediately. Overall, fantastic epilogue to Spider-Verse. If you haven't read it yet, I highly recommend you check it out. It's definitely a story I would recommend to any Spider-Man fan. If you're just a fan of the movies or the TV series, comics, whatever, if you love Spider-Man, definitely check out Spider-Verse. Probably going to be hard to find the individual issues, so I would say get them digitally or wait for the trade. But overall, seriously, get Spider-Verse. It's amazing. Okay, my number 1 pick is Batman, number 39. Batman speaks to the Court of Owls about the chemical he needs to create the antidote for the new Joker toxin, which is known as Dionysium. Unfortunately, though, the Talons can't help him. They explain that the samples that they found were actually flawed, and while it does help them with their talons, it won't exactly help Batman with his mission. Meanwhile, while Batman sees the court, Joker breaks into the Batcave. He basically breaks into the Batcave, and fortunately, Alfred's there, and Alfred tries to take him out with a shotgun, but unfortunately, Joker gets away, and then a few minutes later surprises Alfred and cuts off Alfred's hand. Like, just clean off. Well, not clean off, there's blood and everything, but Still, that's hardcore. Not gonna, very hardcore. After Batman gets out of the court and gets out of the sewers of Gotham, Julia contacts Batman, tells him that the alarms went off in the cave, and that Joker only took some trophies from the cave. Which, a few minutes later, we see Joker having a parade, making a big deal in Gotham, obviously trying to get Batman's attention. So Batman now realizes he's looked for the Dionysium everywhere else. The only other place that where he could find it is in Joker's spine. So he decides it's time for one final assault. So he assembles all his allies: Red Hood, Batgirl, Red Robin, Bluebird, and also his rogues. He gets some of his villains to help out: Penguin, Killer Croc, Poison Ivy, Mr. Freeze, Scarecrow, and he asks them to help him take out the Joker, saying that I hate you, you hate me, but this is our city, and we are not going to let this clown take over. So everyone teams up for one final assault against Joker so that they can take back the city, and that's where the issue ends. Oh, also the backup features where we have the doctor from Arkham and the patients she's with, who are working for the Joker. That story concludes, and it is creepy as hell. Like, the backup was really, really scary. Not gonna lie, it was messed up at the end. Okay. Anyways, the main story though, this has been a really epic story. It has. Every single chapter of Endgame has been a non-stop thrill ride. So, I mean, this clearly is Scott Snyder's and Greg Capullo's farewell tale of the Joker. I mean, after this, Scott Snyder says he's not going to write the Joker anymore. So he's definitely saying goodbye in a big, epic way. Yeah, I mean, Scott Snyder, the writer, and also Greg Capullo, the artist, they have both brought their A game to this story arc. It's amazing. It's really great. I cannot wait to see the conclusion next month. It's gonna be so great. I mean, if you're a Batman fan or a Joker fan, you should definitely check out this book. I'd say at this point, get the individuals if you have to. Bid a lot on eBay to get them. This is a story you do not want to miss out on. And that's it for my comic review. What did you guys think? What were your favorite comics? What did you think? Do you agree or disagree with my opinions? Let me know in the comments below. Again, thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing to my channel. Whether you're an old subscriber or a new subscriber, I appreciate the support. I'm SpiderMan 1991 saying, see you later.